Well, welcome everyone to yet another session of Arva Yoga and Kriya organization with Swami Atma Vidyananda Giri. It's been a profound set of lectures so far, and today we'll be talking about free will and karma. So, before I turn it over to Swamiji, just a quick reminder that later this month, on September 27th, is a free public talk on initiation session, and more information will be provided on Friday, September 27th. And then the following 2 days over the weekend, we do have an initiation program here in Philadelphia. So I have posted the link in the chat. I'm going to do that again a couple more times so that it stays at the top of the meeting chat. Do check it out if you're in the Philadelphia area. It would be wonderful to meet Swamiji in person and attend the 2-day program. With that, Swamiji, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. Let us close the eyes. We will begin this lecture praying to God and Masters. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May God protect us all. May God nourish us with wisdom and knowledge. May there be no discord among us. May we meditate and pray together. May there be more love and peace within and everywhere. Om. Amen. I humbly bow to one formless God who is omnipresent. I bow to all the saints and sages of all times and places, bowing to the lineage of Kriya Yoga Masters, and bow to living power of God in each one of you. Good evening and welcome to our series of lectures on yoga philosophy. Today we are going to take a very interesting topic, which is about karma and free will. Karma we all know, but a lot of people don't believe in free will. So today we'll try to understand about free will also, along with some understanding of our karma or action. We all are human beings, and we cannot think of our existence without other people. And when we live together in the society, in the family, we have to share everything with others. Since morning, when we get up from the bed and when we go to the bed again at night, we continuously perform many different types of karma, or you can say actions, mental action, verbal actions, and physical actions. We call them karma. But before we dive deep into this topic today, first let us get better understanding of this word karma or action. In Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 5th verse, Lord Krishna has explained there is no one who can remain without performing action even for a moment. Forced by our prakriti or nature, we are compelled to perform some action, whether it is voluntary or involuntary action. We cannot remain idle. Even when we are sleeping at night, our autonomic nervous system, metabolism, blood circulation, respiration, it is functioning. They are involuntary action. So we cannot remain idle. When we perform any action, we get some result also. In Valmiki Ramayana, it is said that avashyam eva bhoktavyam kratam karma shubhashubham na bhuktam shiyate karma kalpakoti shaterapi. Whatever good or bad action a person does, he or she has to experience its result or consequences. Even after the passage of infinite time, the karma does not get destroyed without giving result. So never think that we did something and we should forget it. Today, tomorrow, in some other life, it will bring the result. Whatever we have done, we have to get the result. To understand what is action and impression, what is law of karma, I'll give some example. The karma, when we say karma, it is not just the action, but how do we create karma? We need to understand first. The law of karma, let's discuss it first. This word karma, its simple meaning is a action. When an action is completed, because when we perform karma and once it is completed, the action itself does not remain in its gross form, but the result of that action manifests sooner or later in our life. So both the action and its result are stored in our subtle form, in their subtle form in the unconscious mind, and these are known as the karma. So physical form of karma is finished, but the result and the impression of that karma or action, it remains in our unconscious mind. Any action we perform, whether it is mental, verbal, or physical, it creates very subtle impression in our unconscious mind, just like footprints on the seashore. When we continuously perform the same action, we repeat it, these impressions are strengthened until eventually they become so powerful and strong that we find it ourselves unable to resist these impressions, and we just flow in that strong currents. Just like we are swept into performing actions that match these impressions. So in other words, we can say the actions, they generate or create some impression, and in turn our actions are motivated by these subtle impressions. So this is a very vicious cycle. Once it is in motion, it is very difficult to break. So action creating impression, and then impressions, they are leading us to perform the same action. This is the cycle which is called law of karma. If you just think about this example, that when we are walking on the seashore, we leave our footprint behind. These are the impressions. So repeated action creating impression, and this impression prompt us again to perform the same action. This is called law of cause and effect, otherwise known as law of karma. Now, law of karma, what does it say? It says that nothing happens by chance or outside the universal laws. Every action has reaction or consequence, and we reap what we have sown. So there is very popular saying about it, what goes around comes around. So we have to be very careful what we do today or tomorrow. We have to go through the same experience This is called law of karma. Now, when we discuss about law of karma, we need to understand that what are the different types of karma, what are the categories. So there are 4 different streams of karma. We call them see the problem today with one is called sanchita karma, the other one is called prarabdha karma, and third is known as the kriyamana karma. Okay, let me just put it again. Prarabdha karma, sanchita karma, and kriyamana karma. PowerPoint is giving little trouble, excuse me. Okay, let me try it again. So we have sanchita karma, which are known as the accumulated actions over many lifetimes. Second is prarabdha karma, which are active karma or active actions at present in this lifetime. Then we have kriyamana karma, which are the potential actions which we have not created, but we have potential to create them. And agami karma also related to our future actions and their results. To know this, how this functions, I will give you one example. It is like in Vedanta, we have some example, but I will give a very relevant example that how this cycle works in our life. Suppose somebody has a gun or a revolver. So in the revolver, you can see there are some bullets. Now these bullets which are already in revolver, they are accumulated, and we compare them with the sanchita karma or accumulated karma. Now if someone is shooting, so shooting the bullet, when the bullet is fired, it is leaving the revolver. Now it has left and it is going to hit the target. So this is the bullet which is already in flight. It is called our prarabdha karma, and we cannot take it back. Once it is leaving the revolver, it cannot be taken back. So this is prarabdha, also known as the destiny. Now, once the bullet is fired, the person needs to fire more bullets. And then he is using all the bullets, more bullets are needed. So there is a possibility of creating more bullets. So if from the laboratory or from the manufacturing unit, more bullets are purchased because they are manufactured, they are purchased, and eventually they are again stored in the revolver. So long as the revolver in the holster or in the case, it is called sanchita. Once the bullet is fired, then prarabdha, and what we create more bullets, those are the kriyamana karma. So this cycle is again a vicious cycle because it is continuously moving from one to other karma, and other one is leading to next karma. So it is like a cycle. And we all as a human being, we are entangled in this cycle of karma. And unless we break this cycle, there is no liberation, no freedom. Destiny or prarabdha karma, I'll give an example. What is prarabdha? Sanchit, as I said, that these are the accumulated karma over many lifetimes. Let's say example, in the bank, somebody has the money, and money, let's say $1 million. $1 million. So out of that $1 million, which is deposited over the time, is known as sanchita karma or accumulated karma. out of that, if somebody is withdrawing $5,000 for today or for a month to spend, so this $5,000 is compared with the prarabdha to be spent in 1 month, let's say. So 1 month is that lifetime. And during this period, we deposit or we do many transactions. So these are the Kriyamana karma. The destiny is our prarabdha karma. Prarabdha or destiny, we can understand with the help of Newton's law of motion. Because this law of karma is nothing but it is the Newton's law of motion. First law of motion tells that if an object is at rest, it will remain at rest unless we apply external force on it. And if an object is in motion, it will continue to remain in motion unless we apply external force to change its velocity or speed. This is the first law of karma, otherwise known as the law of inertia also. The second law of motion, it tells that the displacement or change in the velocity of object, when we apply force, the change in velocity, it depends on, it is proportionate to the mass of the object as well as the force applied. What does it mean? That if an object is heavy in mass and applied force is very less, there will be very little displacement or change in velocity. But if the object is very light and applied force is greater, there will be more displacement or change in direction as well as change in the velocity. So this exactly is like our destiny. Destiny, as we discussed, that it is like the bullet which is already fired. We cannot take it back. That means we do not have any control on that bullet. So this is what is prarabdha. Once the prarabdha starts giving fruit in the present life, it is difficult to cancel it out or it is difficult to take it back. It will definitely give its result. And we have to experience, good or bad, whatever karma or actions we perform, we get the result accordingly. Now, a lot of people, they think that whatever in our life is happening, it is all destiny. Even suppose we are taking breakfast, and the breakfast, whatever food is given to us, we think that it is our destiny. Anything happens, we call it is all my destiny. But let me tell you, everything is not destiny. We have to be clear about this word, what is destiny and what is not destiny. So in Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, very clearly it is mentioned in the second book, 13th Sutra. It says, Sati Mule Tadvipakaha Jati Ayu Bhogaha. There are three things mentioned here, which are Jati, Ayu and Bhoga. So it says Tasati Mule Tadvipakaha. When we are performing constantly actions and we get the results, so all these are accumulated, Sanchita Karma. So these are like whirlpool, or you can say pool of actions. Now, so long as the root cause exists, it will bring fruits in the form of life, our different experiences, lifespan. So all these, what we experience at present, it is because of some root cause. And what is the root cause? We did some karma. And root cause are the impressions. So long as those impressions are still there in our accumulated Sanchita karma, they will give continuously result life after life. Now, these three words, it says that Jati Ayu Bhoga. What is Jati? Jati means, you can say, the family in which you are born, the community in which you are born, the country in which you are born, they are all called Jati. And it is fixed. Before we are born, we have already chosen. Means depending on our strong attachments, depending on our unfulfilled desires, we already have chosen that I want to be this in this life, next life. I want to be born in this, in next life, in this country. Because of our own karma, we have chosen. So that is called Jati. Jati also is known as the caste or the class. Then Ayu. What is Ayu? Ayu is called the lifespan. How long you are going to live in this present life. Depending on your prarabdha means a set of karma which you have brought forward to exhaust in this life. That is the prarabdha karma. So this prarabdha karma decides that how long you are going to live to exhaust these karmas or actions. So somebody is living 70 years, somebody 100 years, somebody only 30 years. So it all depends at how much you have brought forward to exhaust now. This is Ayu. Then what is Bhoga? Bhoga means enjoyments. A blueprint of overall life, like whether the entire life of a person will be happy or unhappy, pleasurable or unpleasurable. So a blueprint is prepared that overall picture of your life will be happy or unhappy. So that is called bhoga, or what are the experiences, good or bad, favorable, unfavorable. They're all decided based on the destiny. So we can say that prarabdha karma has two strands. There is one main strand and secondary strand. What is main strand? All those strong desires which are unfulfilled, strong attachments with the people, with the place, they decide the main strand of our prarabdha karma. And the other details, very minor karma, which do not have a strong impression, which are not repeated, but they still give the result. So they are the secondary karma, or you can say secondary strand. So jati, ayu, bhoga means where you are born, in which family you are born, the parents, everything is decided. That is coming under the jati. Ayu is lifespan, bhoga is the enjoyment. These are main strand. Apart from there, our day-to-day activity like losing something, gaining something, and what we are eating. So little choices which we have, these are daily day-to-day activities. They are the secondary karma. So everything is not destined. Now, if you see in Chanakya Niti, there is a verse that Ayu karma cha vittam cha vidya nidhanam evacha panchaitani hi srijyate garbhasthasyai dehina. So five things are already decided when the baby's mother's womb. The destiny is already fixed. So what are fixed in the destiny? The lifespan, the karma means overall whether this person will be good or bad in karma. Like somebody is going to become a thief or become a soldier. Then wealth, whether the person will be prosperous and wealthy or will have to live a poor life. Then knowledge, whether the person will be knowledgeable or will not be able to complete even the high school. And the death. So these five are already fixed when the baby is mother's womb. So these are destiny, which you cannot change. Remember, destiny or prarabdha means that which you cannot change because it is going to give you a result. In Ramayana also it is said six things are fixed. Hani, labha, jivana, marana, yasha, apayasha, vidhyat. Means loss and profit. Again, loss means somebody has built an empire and suddenly one day and everything is gone. Person becomes bankrupt. So this is a huge loss. So this is destined. Profit, somebody gets a lottery. This is also a huge profit. So that means it is destiny. But getting few things or little money or losing some books, this is not destiny. Then lifespan, death, name and fame also, it is destined whether the person will be very famous or nobody will know him. Like very famous singer, very famous politician, and so on. Similarly, name and fame and insult. So these six things are destined, which you can't change. But all other small details can be altered, can be changed. Now I will use one word here. Yes, destiny cannot be changed. Means you can't replace it. But yes, there is a possibility. In other classes I have discussed in much detail that destiny can be modified. It cannot be changed, but it can be modified with our efforts. And one example I can give you, suppose a person who is shooting with the revolver, he is shooting, and let's say a deer is there. So he's shooting the deer, but as soon as he's shooting, the bullet is going and it will go maybe in few seconds or maybe 30 seconds, it will reach the target and hit the deer to kill. But suppose at the same time when he's shooting, somebody shouts loudly, the deer becomes alert and deer will move little bit from its place, and instead of bullet hitting the deer, it will hit some object, let's say tree. The example, a few weeks ago, there was assassination attempt on presidential candidate Trump, and he just got, in a split second, he could be saved. His life was saved. So it is destiny actually. So something happened and then he was not hit and bullet did not hit. However, so this is example that destiny can be modified. You can't change it completely or replace it. And as we discussed the 4 types of karma, Kriyaman karma are those which are potential karma. We have not created, but when we want, we can create it. Agami karma means we plan to create some karma. So those planning comes to agami or future karma, that tomorrow, day after tomorrow, 5 years down the road, what we are planning to do. So those karma are under the agami karma. Now, karma, we don't perform only individual karma, but most of our karma we perform as collective karma. It is said that except our sleep and our meditation, all other karmas or actions we perform, they are collective karma. What does it mean? Most of the karma are collective because it involves two or more than two parties. For example, if a baby is born in a family, so baby is born because there is destiny, individual karma of the baby, as well as there is shared destiny or collective karma. So in set theory or in mathematics, we draw circles. So let's say if you see here, the circle A represents the father, B represents the mother, and C is the child. Now these three have 3 circles, they have their individual area. That is their individual karma. They have to exhaust in this lifetime. But they come together because there are some shared destiny or collective karma they had performed in previous lifetimes. That's how they all have come together in the form of a family. So this common area D, circle D, it represents the collective karma. So each one of us is exhausting exhausting our individual karma, as well as we are also exhausting our collective karma. The result of individual karma we get individually, and collective karma's result come collectively. For example, if the child is sick in the family, so child is suffering, but at the same time, the other family members, including parents, also suffer mentally or physically because child is suffering. So this is the collective karma. How the karma of one person affects? Simple example, suppose there is soccer match. So the match is played between the 2 teams, and 2 teams means 11 players from each side. So 22 players for 45 minutes or 1.5 hours, they are playing in the playground, but millions of people who are watching, they are getting affected. They become happy or unhappy, emotional, and sometimes depressive. Although they are not performing anything in the playground, but these 22 players, their karma is affecting other people. So this is also collective karma. Similarly, if a person who is head of the state is performing any good or bad action, so the subjects or those who are living in the community or in the country, they all share the karma of that person, and vice versa. What karma we do or action we perform, the king of the country or the head of the state also shares our karma. So it's all collective karma. Now, from karma, let's come to the second topic, which is more important, free will. A lot of people, as I said, that do not believe in free will. They don't think there is a free will. So I will present, there are three types of belief system. A set of people who believe in Nitivada. Nitivada means moral belief. I'll explain it later. Second is called Niyativada. Niyati means destiny. That means the people, they think that everything is destined. Whatever happens, it is because of our destiny, whether it is good or bad. And third set of people who have this belief, they call it Daiva Karpavada, means belief in God's grace. So they live like anything happens good or bad, it's all God's grace. So nothing is mine, it's all God. So these are three different streams of belief. Now, the first one we'll discuss now because that is related to our topic. First one is Nitivada. Niti means moral or ethical way. So what is this belief telling us? Because most of us believe in this one. It says that human being is free in performing action, but he is not free in enjoying the result. Then it says the law of karma. Some people say God, but actually it is law of karma gives the result of actions. Individual soul is immortal and has natural qualities of desire, effort, and knowledge. We call it jnana, kriya, ichha, and jnana. An individual soul can move upward or downward in evolution process by his own actions. So if we perform good actions, we can evolve quickly and move towards the divinity. If we perform some or commit some bad action, then sometimes we have to go down in the process of evolution, and from human we become animal, or we become human but we live like animal life. Then this Nitivad also says the supreme goal of soul is to attain liberation or moksha. So this is all Nitivada. We'll discuss about it more. As I told you that we discuss about the destiny. Now coming how to connect it with the free will. The four different streams of karma, Sanchita, Prarabdha, Kriyaman, Agami. So now we can divide it. The destiny or fate and free will. So destiny, it governs two sets of our karma, Sanchita and Prarabdha. So whatever we have accumulated, it is destiny. And out of that, whatever we are bringing forward to exhaust in this life, this is the Prarabdha or active karma in this life. So this is the part of destiny. Now, what is the free will? So free will governs two sets of karma. One is Kriyamana karma, other is Agami karma. So what is Kriyamana? I'll explain more here. Like how we act and react in each moment in response to Prarabdha karma. Suppose somebody is driving the car and there is traffic jam. Now this traffic jam, it's fine. But if how the person reacts, if the person is reacting in such a way that it will create conflict with other people, then the people are not responsible. We are creating it. So it is our own creation, Kriyamana karma. And based on that, we get the result. If somebody is upset with us, can beat us or complain. But Agami karma is different. Agami is the future karma. So Agami karma is the ability to think and plan for our future. So Kriyamana karma is at present, whatever situation we are facing due to our prarabdha or destiny, and how do we respond. And according to that, we are creating. But the karmas which we are planning for future, like say after 5 years, what I want to do, or investment, or some planning related to our family members, but it is not today. It's not a response to present situation, but for the future. So that is Agami karma. So let's be clear that free will is related to Kriyaman and Agami. Destiny is related to Sanchita and Prarabdha. It is said free will, as a lot of people still don't believe that they have free will. So let me tell you in scripture, Sankhya Karika, which is the explanation about the Sankhya philosophy. It says, Ahamkara kartradhina karya siddhi na ishwaradhina pramana bhavat. An individual being is free to perform his or her prescribed actions, but has no choice in the actions of God's creation. If man is not free, then there is no result of vice and virtue. So what does it mean? Any individual person can perform his or her own karma because there is choice. You want to eat or you don't want to eat. You want to go to some place or don't want to go to some place. You want to accept a job or you don't want to accept. It is choice. But we don't have choice in the action of God's creation. God has created this entire universe. So we can control our own action. We cannot control the action of others because it is God's creation. Otherwise, everything becomes chaotic. And the answer is that why do we have free will? Because if there is no free will, then there is no question of good or bad. Whatever is happening, it is happening accidentally, or maybe God is doing through us. But remember, God has given us choice. So there is definitely free will. This element of free will is there. Problem is that most of us do not recognize that we have free will. And very few people who recognize, they're not able to exercise or exert on this. They're not able to use or summon this free will to change their life or destiny or modify the destiny. So let's go a little deeper. To give support to this statement, there is free will, I will quote from Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter, 47th, it is 2nd chapter, 47th verse. It clearly says, कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफल हेतु भुः मा ते संगः अस्तु कर्मणि. There are 4 sections. So first 2 sections are related to this statement. It says that you have right to perform your prescribed duties or actions. Now, adhikar word has few meanings. You have right. Adhikar means right. Adhikar means authority. Adhikar means also choice. So you have a choice to perform your actions. You have right to perform your actions. Nobody has right on that. You have right. And you also have authority on your action. But you are not entitled to the fruits of your action. You can perform whatever you like. Whatever actions you like, you can do. But what result will come, it is not in your hand. Then whose hand it is? So it is said it is destined. Means, let's understand with an example. If a student is working hard, studying nicely, then appears in the examination, writing the paper. So when he is answering all the questions to the best of his or her capability, so it is the right, it is authority, it is the choice of the student what he writes, how much, and to the best of his ability. But what will be the result? What are the grades the student is going to receive? It's not dependent on the desire of student. It's not the right of a student. It is the invigilator, it is the examiner will give you grades, whether it is A plus, A double plus, or B or C. It depends on the examiner. Similarly, the examiner is like God or created law of karma. So law of karma will give the result. You cannot expect that I did this, so I need this result. You can expect, but you have no authority to say that you give me A plus. So we have to be very clear that we have complete authority, right, or choice in our actions, but not on the result of action. That's why it is called destiny. Also, it says, never consider yourself to be cause of the result of your activity. That means be conscious and do not create more karma. And also sometimes people think that if I have no authority, I have no choice on the result, then why should I perform any action? So Lord is telling, Mate sanga astu karmani means don't be attached to inaction. Means don't sit that, okay, if I have no right, I have no choice to a result, then why should I perform? That's not right attitude, because in the beginning of the lecture, I already mentioned that no one can remain idle. Forced by nature, everybody has to perform action. You cannot remain inactive. So you have no choice. Even you have no choice to remain inactive, because you can't say that I will sleep all my life. You can't say that I will just sit down at one place and do not do anything, because you have to eat, you have to deal with people, you have to earn money, you have to do action. So there is no possibility of being inactive. So let us be clear. We have right to perform action, but we have no right on the result of action. So what does it mean? There is free will. What is free will? Let's think about it. I will give an example of water. If you take water in a bottle or in a pot and just leave it or let it go down. So where water will go? By the law of gravity, the water will flow down. Cannot move up, it cannot go horizontal, but it will go down because of the gravitational force. Why? Because it is the natural tendency of water to flow down. But in case of man, in case of a human being, it's not necessary that we always move in certain direction like the bullet is moving. We have a choice. We can move upward, like from humanity to we can go to divinity, we can be liberated, we can attain self-realization, or we can go to the lower forms of life, subhuman species. That is also possible as a demotion. So man has free will, but water has no choice. Now choosing action to attain pleasure and avoid pain is not free will. Again, we have to be very clear. Sometimes people think, okay, I will do some good things so that I will always be happy. I will avoid pain. But that is not free will, because pain and pleasure, they are again the result of our own prarabdha karma. And prarabdha is part of destiny, not part of free will. And these are day-to-day actions which we do. So here what we do, we don't choose to go against the nature, because avoiding pain or attaining some pleasure is not going against the nature or against the gravity. So this is not free will, it is freedom. Again, conscious decisions are not truly free, because when we know something that it can happen, this is the pattern, so this is not really free. Free will only come into play when you have an option to not be yourself, to not be true to your nature. So what, for example, as I said, that nature of water is to flow down. It will go, but to water to go against its nature or against the gravity, there is a choice. If force is applied, external force is applied through a pump, then it can take the water up. So when you go against the nature, when what you are today, you are trying to go against, and you change that, then it is then we can say that is what is free will. Only those creatures with free will can try to go against natural order of universe. So as human being, we have that free will. Free will is the idea that humans have the ability to make their own choices and determine their own destiny. The free will in philosophy and science, the supposed power or capacity of humans to make decisions, to perform actions independently of any prior event or state of the universe. So in short, free will is there, but who has the free will? Free will is that comes into picture only first thing when we have an option. If there is no option, there is no choice, there is no question of free will, but we have that option. And free will is only coming into picture when we can go against the nature. What is natural process is not free will, it is just a freedom. So again, I'll explain a little bit more. I'll give two examples here. Free will versus freedom, because sometimes we get confused that freedom is not really free will. Free will is every person's natural birthright to make their own decisions and choose their own path. Because we are born as human, we have a birthright to choose our own path. To go what we are today, we can go against and change it completely. That is what is free will. But freedom is the physical and mental ability to exercise that free will. Suppose we know that we have free will, but if we have no will, if you don't want to apply it, then we cannot use it. So we have the freedom to use that also. So freedom is only the physical and mental ability to exercise the free will, and freedom is also our birthright. For example, you can be free. You can be physically free, but not mentally free. Physically, you're free, but mentally, you still may have some anxiety, stress, or worry. So, to clarify again, free will is the ability to make choices, and freedom is the right to make choices. So, free will is the ability, and freedom is the right to make that choice. Two examples I'll give. Suppose there's rocket, or let's say satellite. The satellite, when it is moving in the orbit with a certain speed, it is just around the earth, it is revolving. But when the speed is, a particular speed is, it is achieving, then it can break that orbit or the law of gravitation, and that escape velocity can take it beyond this realm of gravitational force of earth. So as a natural phenomenon, because of gravitational force, the satellite is still moving or rocket is still in the orbit. But to go beyond this orbit and into the space, escape velocity is needed. That means some extra force is generated. Or other example, I'll say that water, as it is going down, moving always downward. But if when we apply a pump, centrifugal pump, so with that centrifugal force, water is drawn up and it can be supplied to a higher potential point. But as a nature, water cannot go up. So going against its nature is the free will here. And that requires additional or spiritual force or some extra force. It is said, what is the way now? So in Bhagavad Gita, again, 4th chapter, 37th verse, it is said that यथैधांसी समिद्धो अग्निर भस्मसात कुरुते अर्जुन ज्ञानाग्नि सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात कुरुते तथा. As the kindled fire reduces wood to ashes, O Arjuna, the fire of knowledge burns all previous karmas. So Jnanagni Sarva Karmani Bhasmasat Kuru. This is very important assurance, I would say, from the Lord. It says Sarva Karmani. Sarva means all. So whether it is Prarabdha, Sanchita or Kriyaman we have not created, but Prarabdha and Sanchit completely one can Bhasma means one can destroy or burn. So we can burn all our previous karma, including Prarabdha karma and Sanchit, definitely yes, we can burn them. How? With the help of the fire of knowledge. So when somebody is meditating or attaining realization, knowledge, when knowledge is there, there can be no ignorance. Knowledge is light, ignorance is the darkness. As soon as you switch on the light, there is light in the room and there can be no darkness. So when somebody attains knowledge or attains samadhi, or different words we can use, but self-realization, so all the previous karma are already burned with that. Example is given that suppose we take some coffee seeds. The coffee seeds we can plant, they can germinate, and then we can get more coffee. But if we take those coffee seeds and roast them in fire, after roasting, when you plant them, they will never germinate. So that is called fire of yoga, fire of knowledge. It burns the karma. So all impressions, they are unable to give any more result, or they cannot germinate anymore. So we are free from those cycle of karma. In Yoga Sutra, first book of 50th Sutra also says the same thing. Tajja sanskara anya sanskara pratibandhi. Impressions born of that intuitive wisdom will cancel out other impressions. So whatever impressions or samskaras we have, like sanchit karma, by attaining the wisdom, means attaining self-realization, all those impressions are cancelled out, means we can completely get rid of those previous lives impressions, and that's why there is no more rebirth. We are liberated in this lifetime. When we talk about this karma, one of the most important factor of creating karma is our own mind, because anything we do, first there is some thought, or you can say that first there is some, before we perform any action, there is always thought. So when thought is arising in the mind, that thought is transformed into action, and according to the action, we get the result. So this is how the cycle again starts. Our mind is born of Prakriti. And in our previous classes, we have discussed from Sankhya philosophy, the process of evolution, that how this universe emerged from Purusha and Prakriti. So mind is born out of Prakriti, and mind, because Prakriti is intrinsic of three qualities, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Similarly, the mind which is born out of Prakriti also is having these three qualities. So the mind remains under the influence of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. One of these three remains predominating force, and other two are subordinating it. Means mind usually remains in one of the three states. If the mind is Rajasic, then it is agitated, distracted mind. If it is Tamasic mind, means more predominant Tamas is there, then it is like inert, not interested, lethargic, or disturbed. And suppose it is Rajasic Tamasic, because sometimes it can be both mixture. So then it is a disturbed mind. But when the Sattva is more predominant, then a well-controlled, disciplined, balanced mind emerges. Now, because our thoughts, speech, and actions are either confused, organized, or peaceful, depending on our mental state, whether it is Rajasic, Tamasic, or Sattvic. These mental states play a significant role in the formation of our karma accordingly. For example, a confused mind, which is like Rajasic, Tamasic kind of mind. A confused mind causes us to create multitude of weak karma, which in turn are stored in unconscious mind in disorganized way. So, however, I'll not go into that detail of karma. Again, because our mind is prompting us, the state of mind, whether it is Rajasic, Tamasic, or Sattvic, that state of mind is very important, because that decides what type of karma we are performing. So the question comes that how to be free from the karma. For that, according to yoga philosophy, we can incorporate three spiritual practices into our lives. And these three practices will do much to lose the grip of our negative karmas, and it will help us to cultivate focus, exercising control over the senses, and strengthening our willpower and determination. So if I say that these three in short, so these three practices everybody can do, and they are part of yoga philosophy. So the mind remains under the influence of these three gunas or qualities. When these three qualities, they are in perfect equilibrium, the prakriti or the mind, it remains balanced, means it is dissolved into its own cause. Prakriti is merged with the Purusha. When there is disturbance in this equilibrium of these three qualities, then Prakriti manifests. That means the mind starts its play. In meditation, for deeper state of meditation or samadhi state, these three qualities of mind, they are in perfect balance, in equilibrium. That's why there is no play of mind. Mind is almost dead. But in our wakeful state, one of these three are predominant, so the equilibrium is disturbed. And that's how this play of mind is creating all different types of karma. And we are entangled into this cycle of karma and then result and so on. So what are the three practices recommended by Yoga Sutra? We call it, first is to cultivate focus, which is called dharana. If you remember the eight limbs of yoga in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, yama, niyama, dharana, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So three of these, I would say, are mentioned here as a main practice. Dharana means cultivating focus. How do we cultivate focus? I'll tell you later. Second is pratyahara. Pratyahara means exercising control over the sense organs. Pratyahara means food is there in front of you, but you are refraining to take food with your will, that I don't want. I don't want to take food, but it is not with force, but with understanding. So we are withdrawing your sense organs from the food of the senses, objects, you sense objects, you can say. Third important aspect is to cultivate Sankalpa Shakti, strengthening our willpower and determination. We all have that power, but we just make it more strong, strong will, strong determination. And that comes with concentration also. So in the same sequence, we practice them. So these three are very important aspect of yoga practice. Now, when we say that to stay focused means, how does it help? Forming a habit of staying focused will prevent us from involving ourselves in useless actions. Because when we are not focused, when we are not concentrating on our job or whatever we are supposed to, we perform a lot of unnecessary actions. So when we stay focused, we just choose the action which is needed. Like example I will give you, that like little children, we are often more interested in knowing what others are doing than what we need to do. And this leads to compare ourselves with others. And it generates inferiority or superiority complex when we compare. And that comparison or this complex superiority, inferiority, it creates an environment in which hatred, jealousy, greed, and competitiveness flourishes. And such feelings pollute our mind and force us to involve ourselves in unnecessary actions. By performing unnecessary actions, we create unnecessary karma, which perpetuate our confusion and complicate our life. So, first thing we need to cultivate is staying focused. How? We practice some concentration techniques. The best practice which our masters say, watch your breath. So constantly, if you are aware of the breath, just being conscious of breath is staying focused. Then second is pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses. The mind cannot execute its plans without the help of the sense organs. The senses are constantly employing the mind to contact, perceive, feel, and judge the pleasure and pain contained in the sensory objects. And we perform our actions under the influence of these sensory urges, creating potential karma contaminated by cravings and confusion. And for this, Lord Krishna says, first we should control the tongue because it controls taste and speech. So in Kriya practice, we have Khechari Mudra, Shambhavi Mudra. These are all Pratyahara. Third and most important action is to avoid confusion of mind, is to build Sankalpa Shakti, willpower and determination. The same mind that has the capacity to create the karma in the first place, and then later it is influenced by its own karmic accumulations. The same mind has the power to dismantle previous karmas and rebuild according to a well thought out plan. The mind is the cause of both bondage and liberation. The key to unlocking mind's liberating power is Sankalpa Shakti, willpower. The failure to use this willpower is the source of all our misery, and the best way to bring the willpower, to make it strong, constantly remember God, do some japa, or the best way is meditation. When we meditate, we get strong willpower, and we can utilize this willpower to modify the destiny, and we can change our life and be liberated. So these are the three practices recommended by Sage Patanjali in Yoga Sutra. However, again to summarize, we cannot remain without performing action. Action will give result. Now we can choose the action. So there is choice. When there is choice, there comes free will. We can go against the prarabdha. Prarabdha means it is going in a particular direction. We can change or modify it using our free will. So there is free will, and utilizing free will, we can become free from the cycle of birth and death. And that is the purpose of life. So in short time, I just try to give some understanding. Use your free will. Don't suffer. Don't think that it is destined. Not everything is destined. So we can change it. And this is a topic actually for the retreat, which I had taken at least 8 to 10 classes on this topic, 10 classes. But to put in 1 hour, I tried my best. I'm praying to God, I'm praying to the masters to give us better understanding of our life, to give us that inner strength to change our destiny, to change our life, to transform our life, and ultimately in this lifetime, attain self-realization or liberation. So once again, thank you all. There is one question. Can you please explain the caste system and if it relates to a person's karma in any way? Is the hierarchy based on karma past life? Yes, it is also the caste system. Actually, there are a lot of misconception about caste. There was no word caste, it was class, varna. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. These classes, maybe I can take another class on this because it is related to Brihadaranyaka Upanishad and some scripture. But later on, it is misunderstood and a lot of misconception. However, according to your question, I can say when we are born in a particular class, yes, it depends on our karma because we have chosen. We are attached to something. We are attached to our karma or environment or strong desires. So because of those, we are born in a particular family or class, which is a caste, you can say. Yes, it is our own past karma. So I will not take much time because we are beyond time. I would like to thank you all for joining us for this lecture today. And next month, I'll see you again with another topic on this series. Praying for all of you. May all become happy and healthy, loving, noble, and compassionate. May there be more love, peace, and harmony among us and in this entire creation. About who living presence of divine in each one of you. Om. Amen. Thank you all.